If those aren't the most desirable coins here at the shop, what would you say are the most desirable silver coins at the shop?
Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Silver Dragons.
What's up, Harry?
Silver Dragons.
Richard and Brandon. We got security in the house. First things first, there's a big change in spot price on platinum, palladium. Well, silver and gold went down too, but palladium's been falling like crazy. It's actually lower than platinum if we look at the bid. What's up with that?
I'm really not sure. In fact, we all just noticed this morning that changed. I mean, I can't remember the last time that platinum was more than palladium. It's been years.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happened in the marketplace to cause that. Perhaps the demand is down from catalytic converters. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the reason?
Well, I mean, I would say probably something to do with industrial demand.
Okay.
I know Richard is a big fan of platinum. What do you think about platinum being worth more than palladium now, at least when we look at the bid?
So I think it has to do with something I heard somebody else say, that when palladium was expensive, all the people that were using palladium were retrofitting their equipment to use platinum. So now that they're not going to be using palladium and instead using the platinum, it's going to drive the platinum up.
So it kind of goes back and forth. Whichever one's cheaper is what they tend to use.
Yes.
So, and then it takes them a while to switch over their equipment, so there's a little bit of a lag.
Yep.
So they'll kind of bounce back and forth.
Exactly.
Interesting. So does that mean palladium, we should be stacking it now because it's just lagging and will eventually go up?
I mean, it could be an opportunity to stack it. I've talked about before that it has a larger spread than the other metals, so that would be something to take into consideration. But if platinum's going to be going up in comparison to palladium too, they're both falling right now. But if platinum's the one that the industry's going to be using, it could be a good time to buy that as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there certainly could be the case made for either of the metals.
You know, what's interesting and almost never gets discussed is rhodium at 4,000 and 4,800, the spread. But look at the highs and lows over time, over recent time. In the last, rhodium doesn't trade very often, but you have a low of 2,700 and a high of 20,000. And actually 2 years ago, it was in the mid 20,000. So this has really, really fallen on hard times.
Yeah, rhodium's come down quite a bit. I hope people out there haven't been stacking rhodium heavily, hoping it would go to 100,000, because it certainly didn't do that.
Yeah, I've never seen even a video about rhodium stackers. That'd be maybe idea for a new channel.
Yeah, well, you have the other metals too, right? Like ruthenium, and there's a few other. I know you can get them sometimes in bar form, but a lot of times I think you have to buy like a powder. And it's kind of a weird thing to stack, but that's why I like to stick to silver and gold, Harry.
It just always gets forgotten in these discussions. It's really an interesting spread there.
Yeah, $20,000
Yeah.
for 1 ounce of rhodium.
Yeah, and it's not a very attractive metal. It looks like a dull pewter looking silvery metal. It's not very pretty.
I mean, I know they use it to like plate jewelry a lot.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I
think it's used in catalytic converters too, to some extent.
Yeah, could be. One thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, if we take a look over the case here, I do notice we have Charles on one of the gold coins here.
Right.
And with the recent news of him getting diagnosed with cancer, I wonder if there's going to be more demand for the coins with him on them. What do you think?
We've been talking about that extensively here in the shop, because when we first last year got the Britannias with his portrait on it, they just sat here and people would comment how they don't like the guy.
Yeah, no one wanted him.
I mean, it took weeks and weeks to go through just a handful of tubes of these. And now, because he's sick, I'm just wondering, thinking out loud, if, God forbid, if he dies, and I don't wish the guy any ill, but it could become something of a scarcity. Mm-hmm. Along the lines of his uncle, King Edward, who abdicated the throne. There's just very, very few coins with his portrait on it, and they're all quite valuable. In fact, aren't most of those patterns?
There's tons of patterns too. When Napoleon was arrested, they tried to put his infant son into power, so you have Napoleon II on only patterns.
I mean, his mother was on a record number of coins
Yeah.
over 75 years, but again, if he's that sick, perhaps this becomes an unusual modern rarity to have his portrait on a coin.
I mean, I know they've already produced like millions of coins with him on them, but if he is only here for a few more years, certainly when we look at bullion and people are collecting back dates and trying to find, sort of the cool ones, I suppose.
Yeah.
This could end up being one of those ones that people like to collect.
Oh, it'll be a premium piece if he has a very short run as king, because even in the millions, this is bullion. People will stack it by the tube and the box, and it'll be a premium product.
Some of the Britannias, silver Britannias, might be like the new 96 Silver Eagle.
Yeah, which they go for like $100 sometimes. So if Charles has to step down, I mean, if he's too sick to even, be on the throne, who is going to come in to replace him? Do you know?
Line of succession, it would be his son William, right?
Right, but if he hasn't passed away but is just unable to perform his duties, there's a council of, I don't know what they call them there, but there's a group of people who can step in and administer his duties on a temporary basis, short of him not being king anymore.
Yeah, so he may even still be on the coins, though,
Sure.
until he actually passes away.
Sure, or
Yeah.
recovers.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a few different scenarios that could play out. But certainly I think when people are stacking, if they see the ones with Charles on them, whether it be a gold coin or silver coins like you pointed out, I think the new maples you're getting in soon have him on them.
I think people ought to at least accept them now as a possible scarcity in the future. I mean, it's still bullion, but it could be premium bullion in the near future.
Yeah, to me personally, it doesn't really matter who's on the coins. When I'm stacking silver, I want an ounce of silver.
Sure.
Right? But as you said, if it is premium later on, that's a little bonus.
It is, and there's a little time to plan if you think that might be a possibility.
What do you think, Brandon? I mean, with King Charles being on these coins, do you think they're going to become more popular or not? What's your opinion?
That's really hard to say. I think, like Harry was saying, initially they showed up and everyone was saying how they didn't like the design or the portrait at all, so they just didn't sell well. I still think they're just not going to be a big seller, even if whatever happens with him. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And, I think the Queen was on there so long that it's just definitely a more likable portrait, a more desired coin, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, I remember when the Queen was actually not as desirable because she was on for so long. People would say, oh, well, why am I going to get a maple leaf with the Queen on it when I could get, a silver eagle, for example, who's not going to have any monarch on it, or I could get a Philharmonic. I don't know if you have any up here, but
I do.
They just have musical instruments on it, right? There's no monarch at all. So there's obviously options out there for people who are not a fan of the royal family, so to speak.
They're out there. We've had customers who want nothing to do with the royal family, the Queen or anybody else, and prefer a coin that doesn't have that kind of portraiture. However, I have to say, since you brought up the Philharmonics, these and the kangaroos are not good sellers here.
Really?
I don't know if your experience in your travels is different, but for whatever reason, they do not sell well. And I only have them in stock if someone sells them to us over the counter. I don't go out of my way to order them.
Yeah, it's interesting. If those aren't the most, desirable coins here at the shop, what would you say are the most desirable silver coins at the shop?
If I can include rounds, I would say buffalo rounds first, silver eagles, and maples.
Those are the top three?
If I had to name a fourth, it would be the South African silver Krugerrand.
Interesting. Wow. So would they be in that order too?
Yes.
Some people probably heard the door. You have a new employee.
Not quite. We're honored to have here Marcos from Long Beach. This
What's
is
up,
Adrian's
Marcos?
very best friend.
Nice
They've
to
been
meet you guys.
friends all through childhood and adulthood. And frankly, we would very much like Marcos to join us, have him be in charge of the logistics, the shipping. We want to provide better service for your viewers who do order from us, and also other people who want things shipped to them. It's an extremely important part of our business. The transaction's not done till it's in someone's hands and they're happy.
Sure.
And this gentleman has great talent, and he's Adrian's friends, which goes a long, long way with us as to being qualified. And so we're hoping he makes a quality decision to join us.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Marcos.
Nice to meet you too, man.
And speaking of Adrian, he's sick right now, so that's why he's
Yes.
not in the video.
Yeah, these two guys went out for sushi the other night. Marcos can handle it. Apparently Adrian's got a more sensitive stomach.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get better soon.
We hope and pray.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does Richard say when Adrian's not here?
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Speaking of people walking in, actually, Bill just walked in too.
Yeah, surprise visit.
What's up, Bill? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
We were just talking about King Charles being on the new coins and how with him being sick, they may become more of a premium piece in years to come. Do you have an opinion on that?
It's always possible. I mean, people always hunt the Edward VIII colonial issues because he didn't have like a home country coin. He was such a short-lived king. So it's conceivable.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he gets some health care and he's in there for a little while. But
One other thing I noticed was you guys had some goldbacks on the table.
Yeah, it's an experiment. Actually, we keep getting requests from people just in the store looking at the showcases. We get requests more and more frequent now that, hey, do you sell goldbacks? My answer is always, no, not yet, but if the demand is there, we'll certainly give it a try. And so yesterday I bought some, and just honestly, this is the first morning they'll be out. We'll see how they do. Haven't even had a chance to discuss with Richard what to price them at. But if it's something people want, we'll certainly stock it on a regular basis.
Well, there you go. So goldbacks over at Harry's Coin Shop. They're trying it out. It's kind of cool to hear that there's people asking for them at least. I mean, I know these can be used for barter, certainly in the states that they're issued. But really, throughout the world, whoever's willing to accept gold, this could be an option for barter.
It is, and as you and I discussed this morning, gold is tough to barter with because even small increments like a tenth of an ounce is still $250 or so. This makes it possible to barter with gold because we're talking 1/1000th of an ounce.
Right.
So I think it's got possibilities, but everything's worth a try if enough people want it. We're always happy to give it a go.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, something new at the shop. We got goldbacks. Of course, we got all the staples. We got junk silver. By the way, we're at 18X face today. We got the silver at melt over here. I mean,
Tell you what's been real popular, and I have to thank your videos for that, of course, is these 1921 Morgan dollars at $25. We get phone calls and people want quantities of these. And so it's been a lot of fun being able to offer these to your viewers at that price.
yeah, these are great to stack for yourself, or if you want to give them to your kids or grandkids or whatever. $25, that's a pretty reasonable price for a gift. But also they're getting a U.S. coin history, right? This is over 100 years old and it's real silver. So
It is. It's the same amount of silver as a rare Morgan dollar, but it's a way to own a Morgan dollar very inexpensively. And most of them are XF or better. Some even uncirculated end up in there.
wow. Well, awesome. Hey, great to talk to you as always, Harry.
Thank you, Silver Dragons. Great
Really
to see you.
appreciate it. Good to see you, Brandon.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Bill.
as always,
Yep. And we got Richard and now Marcos. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
More
too,
in the
man.
future.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll see.
All right. Take care.
Likewise.